Here we are 10 years later, and all the conspiracy theories aside, a lot of which probably have a lot of validity to them, at least from what I've seen, we're still trying to form our view of not only what happened, but of so many major religions and political authorities and countries and cultures across the world. We're trying to form our own full photo picture in our mind with only a portion of the information. We're not seeing the full frame. Well, let me put it this way. We're not looking at the full frame. 10 years later, have we actually learned a lot? I know we talk about more security on planes. I'm on dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of planes per year. I've had weeks where I'm on a dozen planes in a single week, bouncing from speaking event to speaking event. But we're talking, if we look just at Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, we're literally talking about three legs of one single Abrahamic philosophy. Judaism, which is the roots, that which everything births from, that Hebrew Judaism, the original Aramaic Christianity, and the Christianity is the tree which grows and evangelizes, they call it witnessing, goes out and takes the fruit out, and Islam is that fruit in absolute ripeness, true Islam, in its absolute ripeness, which comes to that point of fruition and through pure consciousness drops in absolute submission back into those roots to begin that circle of life, that structure again. And unfortunately, what's happening is we still have the same extremities, whether it be Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, people saying that they're fighting for the will of God, what they're actually fighting for is their own hostility and fear and emotions. And they're mistaking their own hostility, fear, and emotions for the will of God. Yet every core teaching from Yeshua, I will say specifically from Yeshua, was about what? It was about love your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. The second law that is like unto it is love your neighbor as yourself. In Aramaic, that's detrachim lekerabak aiknapshach. That word kerabak, kerab in Aramaic is the word for neighbor. And what it means, literal translation, is anyone that you think about. Really what it means is any object of your attention, not even necessarily just people, plants, animals, life, earth, ecology. Everything is one whole. Love anybody that you think about as your nafsha. Nafsha in Aramaic is the word translated as self. Direct, literal, black and white linguistic translation without any spinning or mystical add-ons is breath of life. Detrachim lekerabak aiknapshach. Love anyone that you think about as the breath of your own life. Are we doing that? I remember also where he said, that in which you judge another, you are guilty of practicing. And then he called him a hypocrite. That word hypocrite in Aramaic is ape. It's the same word as veil, the veil of the temple, or sake. For your sake, Johnny, don't run out into the road. That word ape, hypocrite, also means persona, which is Latin, and it means mask. That's not you judging them. That's your mask. That's your mask, what Eckhart Tolle would call the pain body of fear, of judgment, of resent, of criticism, of hate. It's time for us to love our neighbor as ourself. Now. He also said what? Love your enemies. Well, that word enemy in Aramaic can be a little bit problematic in ancient Aramaic. Ahebu, love. Ahebu, labroiled. That labroiled sound, that labroiled bubaikun. Ahebu labroiled bubaikun. Ahebu labroiled bubaikun. What that sound means in Aramaic is it's a constriction, a cutting off from. The word spirit in Aramaic is ruha. Spirit is a Latin word that he may have never heard in his entire life. The chances of him actually using the word spirit are pretty close to zero. The word he would use is ruha, which means more accurately breath. You take a lot of those Jesus teachings, the standard Jesus teachings, and just say the King James and pencil out that word spirit, write the word breath above it, you're going to get a much more accurate understanding of his cultural, spiritual perspective 2,000 years ago. Much more accurate. Now, what is it you're cutting off? You're cutting off the breath. Love anyone that you think about as the breath of your own life. Why? Because they are the breath of your own life. Love your enemies. Love those you lock your breath down in the presence of. What are those things when you find out about these horrible things that are slathered all over the news? What's the first thing that happens? You stop breathing. Someone pulls out in front of you on the road. You stop breathing. Someone you love dearly was just cancel the thought and died tragically. You stop breathing. Why? Because your emotions are up. And unfortunately, that's where most of the people who we're allowing to represent our spiritual philosophies, most of them are coming from that not breathing, not being connected to God, being disconnected, and making everyone else pay for our own inner hostilities and emotions. It's time for us to stand up in love as the I am that I am, the Inanna that Yeshua spoke of, the I within the I behind the I, and bring this love into creation. Stop letting the extremities who are completely lost in hate and arguments and hostility and fear, stop letting them speak for us. How do we do it? By loving. Is it that simple? It's absolutely that simple. And this is the challenge that I pose to you. 10 years later, rather than dwelling on the chaos and the tragedy, let's dwell on, in the middle of that desert, that beautiful desert rose that's come up and it's emerged. And it's up to us to foster that rose in the desert until we have a field of beautiful, beautiful flowers. This is what we're here for. This is the shift. We're beyond the 11th hour, especially over the next few months now. The next couple of months, there's going to be some amazing, tumultuous shifts happening. Can we allow them to pass through, or in the words of the Lakota, let the wind blow through you? Pay attention to your breath. This is why we're here, and I'm absolutely honored to be on the planet at this time with you. I love you. Love one another as I have loved you.